You talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Today on the podcast, I have a really interesting topic for you guys, as the report is that Ryan Poles confirms that the Bears are all in on Justin Fields. Obviously, for the last couple of months, ever since Ryan Poles took over as the new Chicago Bears GM, there was a lot of speculation from not only the national media, but from some Bears fans as well, that Poles and the Bears didn't believe in Justin Fields and weren't doing enough to support Justin Fields and were failing Justin Fields. This stems from the lack of moves that Ryan Poles has made in the offseason to help his young quarterback. But while appearing on the Mully Haugh show from 670 The Score, Ryan Poles talked about the current status of the team and his belief in Justin Fields. This is what he had to say. We're all in on Justin. I believe in Justin. Our coaches believe in Justin. Like I said from the beginning, we're going to set him up to succeed. We're all in on Justin Fields. Should I say it one more time? We're all in on Justin Fields. I just wanted to repeat that for all the doubters that felt that the Chicago Bears didn't believe in Justin Fields. And obviously, these comments clearly indicate a GM that is excited to have Justin as his quarterback. Like I said earlier in the podcast, there was a lot of speculation from not only the national media, but from a lot of Bears fans as well, saying, well, we're going to get a new quarterback next year. Ryan Poles doesn't believe in Justin Fields. He hasn't done enough. Justin Fields is screwed. All this negative energy from Bears fans. Not from just the national media, from Bears fans, bringing in this negative energy on our young quarterback. But these comments put all that to bed, especially the belief factor in Justin Fields. Ryan Poles clearly just stated that he believes in his young quarterback, and he's excited to see what Justin Fields does with the Chicago Bears football team. And now let's talk about this. Let's talk about the people that are indicating that Poles hasn't done enough for his young quarterback. To start, six of the 11 Bears draft picks were offensive players. This included 4 offensive linemen and a wide receiver in Velus Jones Jr. that can play right away, be your slot receiver. He can do many different things. So right there is Ryan Poles addressing the offensive side of football and helping Justin Fields. And then in the offseason, he signed wide receiver Byron Pringle. And then he went out and signed Lucas Patrick, which should be a major upgrade at center. And then when you already look at the offensive line, the Bears also have Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borom. Both guys had some playing experience in their rookie year. So if they take that next step, you have your starting left tackle and your starting right tackle. Of course, you have Cody Whitehair, and then maybe a guy that we drafted in this year's draft, one of the 4 offensive linemen, can play at that guard position. And there you go. It seems like a pretty good situation for Justin Fields. And when I look at it, it seems like an improved offensive line for Justin Fields. And then something that I mentioned before many times on this podcast, and I'm going to sound like a broken record to you guys right now. I feel like there's also an upgrade in the coaching staff as well when you look at Luke Getsy. This is finally a coach that is going to play to our quarterback strengths. This is not Matt Nagy anymore. Matt Nagy's not here to sabotage Justin Fields anymore. This is a whole new coaching staff that believes in Justin Fields and believes in his skill set, and they are going to play to his strengths. So when you add in all these factors, and to some Bears fans, it may not seem like a lot, but when you plug in all these factors, what Ryan Poles has already done for this football team, this offense may be actually more improved than last year. And I know it may be hard to believe. We have to see it to believe it. I understand. But the offseason is not over. Ryan Poles has already done so much for this football team in a short amount of time. And he made it very clear that this is going to take a while. When you're trying to build a constant contender, it doesn't happen overnight. This isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. We knew that this was going to be a process, but when you look at the moves that he's already made, Ryan Poles has actually done a lot to help Justin Fields succeed. And he's also mentioned in this interview on 670 The Score that he is not done. You still have to consider the teams that are going to cut their players when they bring in their new rookies. There you go. You can add some of those guys. You still have the couple of ways of free agency left, that there's still some quality guys out there that he can bring in to help Justin Fields. This is a long process, Bears fans. So for the Bears fans that are bringing in this negative energy, saying that Justin Fields is screwed, Ryan Poles doesn't believe in his quarterback, just stop it. Just shut up. If you're not going to be here for the long haul, don't be here when the Bears win. Go find a new team to bandwagon for. Because if you don't want to be part of this process now, when we possibly may be bad, don't be part of the ending result when we finally do win. Because the true Bears fans, we don't want you. We don't want you. It's so frustrating sometimes to read these different comments with so much negativity. We are fans. Be a fan of your football team and shut the hell up. I truly feel that Ryan Poles has done enough to help Justin Fields, and he's going to continue to add to ensure that Justin Fields succeeds for this Chicago Bears football team. Justin Fields is our franchise quarterback, and I truly believe that he has the skill set to take this football team to the next level and be constant contenders, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL in general. I just wanted to come on here because what Ryan Poles said in that interview lays all that negativity from the national media and some Bears fans to bed about the Bears and Ryan Poles don't believe in Justin Fields. What he said puts it to bed. So the people that are being negative can just stop. And I am super excited to see the ending result of this football team, because what Ryan Poles has already done to this roster, it's a whole culture change now. It's not just about changing the roster, it's about changing the culture of this football team. And you can slowly start seeing the culture change with the Chicago Bears football team. And it's really, really cool to see. And I, as a fan, I'm excited to see the ending result of what this football team can be with Justin Fields as the franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears. So like always, Bears fans, how do you guys feel about the report that Ryan Poles is all in on Justin Fields? And this is no shock. I always knew that Ryan Poles was all in. It was just the negative media, the negative Bears fans out here trying to create this story that Ryan Poles wasn't all in on Justin Fields, that he wasn't doing enough. But I always knew that Ryan Poles was all in on Justin Fields. So once again, how do you guys feel about the report that Ryan Poles is all in on Justin Fields? Let me know down below in the comment section. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe,